X never imagined he'd cross paths with Tim Tebow, a man known as much for his faith as for his football legacy. Their meeting wasn't planned, just two souls brought together by fate's mysterious hand. Tim's quiet strength intrigued X, but it was their shared search for truth that sparked an unbreakable connection. As they talked, faith became more than words. It was a living force binding them together. X's story, marked by doubt and discovery, resonated deeply with Tim's own journey of belief and perseverance. This moment was more than a conversation. It was a divine appointment neither could ignore. Elon's son found in Tim a mentor, a friend, and a fellow traveler on the road of faith. Every word spoken that day carried weight, shifting perspectives and planting seeds of hope. Their encounter quickly rippled beyond that café, touching hearts far and wide. In that simple meeting, faith found a new voice, one destined to change lives forever. Before we continue, we'd love to hear from you. Where are you watching from? Drop your location in the comments below, and be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring stories. Tim Tebow, renowned for his unwavering faith, was used to skepticism, but X's raw honesty struck a different chord. Their bond shattered stereotypes, showing that belief can unite even the most unlikely of allies. Elon's son shared his struggles openly, not just victories, making faith relatable and real. Tim saw in X a genuine hunger for truth, unclouded by fame or fortune. Together, they dismantled walls, building bridges with stories of grace, hope, and redemption. Their growing friendship defied expectations, becoming a beacon to those caught between doubt and belief. Faith became the language they spoke fluently, translating struggles into strength. The world watched as their connection deepened, inspiring thousands to seek their own spiritual path. X's courage to share his story invited others to confront their own fears and embrace hope. In breaking barriers, they revealed that faith isn't about perfection, but about persistence and grace. During a live interview, X asked Tim a simple yet profound question that stopped the room in its tracks. The question pierced beyond the surface, touching the heart of what faith truly means to each of them. Tim's answer, honest and vulnerable, revealed a side of him rarely seen by the public. That moment, captured on camera, spread like wildfire, igniting conversations across social media platforms worldwide. Viewers were drawn not just to the question, but to the sincerity with which it was asked and answered. X's ability to articulate his journey made faith accessible, even to skeptics. Watching from afar, Tim's reaction, part surprise, part deep reflection, showed that even the strongest still wrestle with belief. That interview wasn't just a spotlight. It was a turning point for many hearts waiting to be stirred. Suddenly, millions were talking about faith, hope, and what it means to truly believe. In that shared moment, two stories intertwined, creating a new narrative of grace and courage. X knew that faith in the public eye meant scrutiny. Every word weighed, every move analyzed. Yet, he chose vulnerability over silence, courage over comfort, sharing his truth boldly. Tim stood by his side, a pillar of support, embodying what it means to walk in faith publicly. Their shared faith became a testament to resilience amid criticism and doubt. In this arena, faith was more than belief. It was a declaration of identity. Social media buzzed with praise and pushback, but X remained grounded, focusing on the message, not the noise. For every skeptic, there was a seeker inspired to explore faith's depths anew. This public test revealed that true faith isn't weakened by exposure, but strengthened by it. Elon's son found strength in the solidarity of those who believed alongside him. Together, they showed the world that faith in the spotlight can shine brighter than ever. The video of X convincing Tim about Jesus exploded online, reaching millions with a message of hope and love. The raw authenticity in their conversation resonated deeply, breaking through cynicism and inspiring countless hearts. Viewers from every corner of the world joined the conversation, sharing stories of faith's power in their own lives. Tim's reaction, open, joyful, and humbled, became a symbol of faith's transformative power. Elon's son, once behind the scenes, now stood at the forefront of a movement sparking renewed spiritual curiosity. The viral moment wasn't just about fame, it was about faith touching real lives in tangible ways. Skeptics were confronted with undeniable sincerity. Believers were encouraged to stand firm in their convictions. The story spread beyond social media, reaching news outlets, churches, and communities hungry for hope. This viral wave reminded the world that faith can unite, heal, and inspire on a massive scale. And just like that, a simple conversation became a catalyst for change, proving that faith, when shared honestly, never stays hidden. X faced his darkest doubts that day, questioning everything he thought he believed about God and his own purpose. Tim shared stories of his own spiritual battles, reminding X that doubt was not the enemy, it was the invitation. In those raw conversations, faith was no longer abstract but a lifeline, a spark in the overwhelming darkness. The pressure of fame and expectation made X wonder if God's love could truly cover his flaws and fears. But Tim's unwavering testimony pierced through the storm, revealing faith's power to bring peace amid chaos. Their dialogues unfolded like a sacred journey, where honesty met grace and transformation began. X realized faith wasn't about having all the answers, but trusting when questions overwhelm. This crucible moment forged a new resolve within him, faith rooted deeper than ever before. The battle between doubt and belief was far from over, but a new hope ignited in his heart. Together, they walked through that storm, teaching us all that faith is strongest when tested most. The X opened his heart like never before, sharing scars and struggles hidden behind his public image. Vulnerability became their secret weapon, breaking down barriers and building bridges no words ever could. Tim listened, never judging, only affirming that pain and faith can coexist beautifully. This moment taught X that courage isn't the absence of fear, but choosing to move forward anyway. They talked for hours about pain, hope, and the power of being real in a world full of pretenses. Through vulnerability, X discovered a strength that fame could never provide, authenticity rooted in grace. Their story inspired others to embrace their own imperfections without shame or silence. Faith grew from the cracks of brokenness, shining brighter because it was genuine and raw. The masks fell away, revealing the truth that healing begins when we let others see our real selves. In vulnerability, they found freedom, a grace that would transform not only their lives but countless others. The X knew his story wasn't just his own. It was a message meant to be shared with the world. Fear of judgment lingered, but the weight of silence felt heavier than any criticism. Tim encouraged him, reminding X that the greatest testimonies come from the most unlikely messengers. They planned a public talk, where honesty and faith would be the only script followed. The night arrived, nerves high, but the fire in X's heart burned brighter than doubt. As he spoke, raw and real, the audience was drawn into a powerful journey of faith and redemption. Stories of grace filled the room, transforming strangers into believers with every word shared. The message spread like wildfire, too powerful, too authentic, and too needed to be silenced. X realized that faith grows exponentially when shared, openly, unashamedly, and with boldness. This moment marked a turning point, from private struggle to public testimony, changing lives forever. Not everyone welcomed their story with open arms. Criticism and skepticism flooded in like a tidal wave. X felt the sting of harsh words, questioning if faith was worth this public fight. Tim reminded him that every great testimony faces opposition. It's a sign they're on the right path. They prayed together for strength, leaning on grace to hold firm against the storm. Each harsh comment became fuel, a challenge to stand taller, love deeper, and believe stronger. Faith wasn't about avoiding trials, but growing through them with unwavering hope. Their story inspired others to hold fast, even when the noise around them was deafening. X learned that grace isn't passive, it's active resistance against doubt, fear, and hate. Together, they showed the world that faith, when rooted in love, cannot be shaken. The backlash only made their message louder, more urgent, and impossible to ignore. What began as a private journey between two men exploded into a movement sweeping across generations. Youths and elders alike found new hope in X's candid story and Tim's unwavering faith. Churches, schools, and online communities lit up with conversations about grace, redemption, and courage. X's vulnerability became a catalyst, inspiring countless others to share their own faith stories. Tim and X became symbols of hope, proof that faith is alive and thriving in the modern world. The ripple effect touched even the most distant hearts, bridging gaps and healing wounds. A generation hungry for truth found nourishment in their shared message of love and resilience. Faith was no longer confined to the pages of history, but lived vibrantly in everyday lives. This movement proved that no one is too broken, too lost, or too famous to be changed by grace. And so, the story continues, a beacon of hope, lighting the way for generations yet to come. X realized that following Jesus wasn't a comfort zone. It was a battlefield where he would lose old friends and habits. The cost of belief was immediate and heavy. Family tensions rose, social invitations disappeared, and whispers followed his every step. Yet, in the silence of sacrifice, a new peace settled deep inside him, a peace no worldly success could buy. Tim shared how sacrifice sharpened his own faith, turning loss into gain and pain into purpose. X began to understand that the road to true freedom is paved with surrender, not control. Every sacrifice peeled back layers of fear and pride, revealing a heart hungry for God's presence. Doubts crept in, but the memories of grace kept him anchored through each lonely moment. This chapter of his journey was painful but necessary, breaking chains and building unshakable roots. Faith demanded everything but promised everything in return, and X chose to give himself fully. Through sacrifice, he learned that sometimes losing everything is the only way to find what truly matters. In moments of brokenness, X discovered something unexpected, a grace that felt tender, unearned, and wildly freeing. His failures and mistakes no longer defined him. Instead, they became the soil where grace took root and flourished. Tim reminded him that God's strength is perfected in weakness, and broken hearts are the most beautiful canvases. This gift changed everything, transforming shame into humility, regret into hope, and silence into praise. X learned to embrace imperfection as a pathway to God's unfailing love and mercy. The world demanded perfection, but grace welcomed him as he was, broken yet beloved. In this fragile state, faith deepened, not despite his struggles, but because of them. The unexpected gift of grace turned his story from one of defeat into one of divine victory. He now walked with a lightness that only forgiveness and acceptance could bring. This chapter proved that sometimes the hardest falls are the first steps toward true healing. Prayer became X's lifeline, a daily refuge where fears were laid bare and hope was rekindled. He discovered that prayer isn't just asking, but listening, a sacred conversation with the divine. Tim shared stories of prayer breakthroughs, moments when heaven interrupted earthly struggles with peace. Through prayer, X's doubts softened, replaced by an unshakable assurance that he was never alone. This spiritual dialogue empowered him to face each day with renewed strength and clarity. The power of prayer wasn't in eloquence, but in surrender. Honest, raw, and persistent. Every prayer answered became a stepping stone, building a bridge of faith over turbulent waters. Prayer transformed his internal battles into moments of triumph, where grace overshadowed fear. X realized that in prayer, God doesn't always change the situation, but he always changes the heart. This chapter revealed the profound impact of talking to God, changing not just circumstances, but souls. X learned the hard way that faith can't thrive in isolation. Community became his sanctuary and strength. Tim introduced him to a fellowship where judgment was replaced with encouragement and love with accountability. Within this community, brokenness was met with healing, doubts met with wisdom, and loneliness with friendship. Sharing his story among peers sparked collective growth, each person carrying the others through trials. X experienced firsthand that grace multiplied when given and received among brothers and sisters in faith. The power of community was undeniable, a fortress where faith could grow unshaken by the world's storms. Together, they celebrated victories, mourned losses, and prayed fiercely, creating a tapestry of resilience. This chapter taught X that no journey of faith is meant to be traveled alone. In the strength of others, he found the courage to keep pressing forward, even when the path was unclear. Community became the heartbeat of his faith, a living testament that grace is best shared, never hoarded. X's faith was no longer private. It became a vibrant testimony lived out in every decision and gesture. Tim encouraged him to be the hands and feet of grace, embodying the love they preached. Together, they volunteered, mentored, and shared hope with those drowning in despair. Every act of kindness was a seed planted, growing a legacy far beyond words. X discovered that faith shines brightest when it moves beyond words to radical love and service. This chapter showed him the transformative power of living what you believe, inspiring others by example. Faith in action became a beacon for those searching for meaning amid brokenness. X's testimony wasn't just about what God did for him, but what God did through him. Their combined efforts rippled through communities, healing wounds and building bridges of hope. This living testimony proved that faith's greatest power lies not in belief alone, but in love put into practice. X felt doubt's cold grip tighten as unanswered questions haunted his prayers and restless nights. Faith suddenly seemed fragile, like a candle flickering against the rising winds of uncertainty. Tim revealed that wrestling with doubt isn't failure, but an essential passage on the journey to deeper belief. In moments of questioning, X learned to hold on, not to answers, but to the God who listens. This battle within forced him to confront fears he'd buried beneath layers of hope and certainty. Doubt forced authenticity, peeling away pretense, and inviting raw vulnerability before God's unchanging presence. He realized faith grows stronger not in comfort, but in the brave refusal to let go. Their conversations were honest, marked by struggle, yet fueled by an unwavering hunger for truth. This chapter was a crucible, shaping X into a faith warrior tempered by perseverance and grace. Wrestling doubt became a sacred act, a dance between fear and trust that redefined his spirit. X's faith journey hit a sudden wall when a close friend openly challenged his beliefs with sharp skepticism. The confrontation was painful, exposing raw wounds and long-held fears neither was ready to admit. Tim advised that true grace is patient, speaking truth even when met with resistance and doubt. Through heartfelt dialogue, X learned that resistance often masks a deeper hunger for understanding and hope. This encounter tested his compassion, teaching him to respond with love rather than defensiveness. The tension sparked a fragile bridge, a small opening for grace to seep through hardened hearts. X discovered that faith doesn't require agreement, only a willingness to walk alongside in love. Resistance became a doorway to empathy, transforming confrontation into connection over time. This chapter revealed grace's quiet power to soften even the most stubborn barriers. In the clash of ideas, X found a deeper resolve to live his faith authentically and humbly. Life storms battered X relentlessly, threatening to extinguish the fragile hope he clung to so tightly. Tim's own stories of despair reminded X that even in the darkest seasons, God's light never fades. Hope became a quiet rebellion against the despair that sought to consume his heart. This fragile flame grew stronger through prayer, community, and the small victories that felt monumental. X realized hope isn't naive optimism, but a steadfast trust in God's unseen promises. Every challenge became an opportunity to witness hope's miraculous power in the midst of suffering. The darkness around him was real, but the light within burned brighter, fueled by grace. This chapter became a testament that no matter how deep the night, dawn is always coming. X's journey taught him that hope is the heartbeat of faith, steady, even when all else fails. Through hope, he found the courage to keep walking forward, trusting the unseen hand that guides. X faced trials that tested every ounce of his faith, but those fires forged a stronger, wiser soul. Tim described transformation as painful yet beautiful, the breaking down before the building up. In the crucible of adversity, old fears melted away, revealing courage and resilience beneath. This process wasn't quick or easy, but every setback became a stepping stone toward purpose. X saw that God's refining work was never wasteful. Every struggle had meaning and direction. The fire purified his intentions, aligning his heart with God's greater plan beyond his own understanding. Through this transformation, X stepped into a new identity, one rooted in grace and truth. Tim's mentorship helped him embrace the process, trusting that pain was a necessary companion on the path. This chapter was a journey from brokenness to brilliance, shaped by faith's unyielding power. X emerged not just changed, but fully alive, ready to walk boldly into his calling. X realized his journey wasn't just about personal transformation, but about inspiring others to believe. Tim encouraged him to share his story boldly, becoming a beacon for those lost in doubt and despair. Together, they planted seeds of grace, hope, and faith that would grow far beyond their own lives. X found purpose in mentoring, knowing that legacy is built one life at a time. This chapter reflected on the power of testimony to change generations and communities. He understood that faith passed on as faith multiplied, a chain of grace, unbroken by time. X's story became a testament to God's faithfulness, inviting others into the same transformative journey. The torch of faith now burned brighter, carried forward with renewed passion and vision. Tim's words echoed, "Legacy is not what you keep, but what you give away with love." The story closed on a hopeful note, a call to live, love, and lead, with grace as the guiding light. What did you think of this inspiring story where Elon Musk's son X convinced Tim Tebow about Jesus, leading to a viral reaction? Where are you watching this video from? We'd love to hear your thoughts and location in the comments below. Please consider subscribing to our channel, liking this video, and sharing it with others to spread the inspiration. Thank you.